Hey Josiah at Fanco Wrestling. Hope you don't mind these video questions or these video discussion points. Sometimes it's easier to communicate this way. If you don't like this, just tell me and I'll quit putting, a link in a comment section. I don't mean to, infringe on, the way you like to do things. But there is a frustration I have in wrestling I would like to talk to you about. And I'm going to try to speak faster, which will probably make me speak slower because that's just how things usually go when you become self-conscious of it. So please bear with me. A frustration, I wanted to speak about two frustrations I had in wrestling. Number one, stalling. I think this needs to be addressed as a fan. Now I'm a former wrestler too, not high caliber or anything, but anyway, nothing to brag about. But I love watching college wrestling, not so much Olympic style, but I like college. Anyway, stalling. This really, gets to me. It's like in the first period or the second period, you have one wrestler that takes, 4 or 5 shots, maybe gets a takedown or two, and the other guy, his opponent, doesn't take any shots. He's just all defensive. But the referee doesn't call any stalling in the first 2 periods, even though one guy has taken 7 shots and the other guy hasn't taken any. But then in the third period, with like 30 seconds to go, and the guy who's taken the 7 shots and got the 1 takedown, if he's up, let's say he's up, 3-2. Well, after taking if he if he's overly defensive, he's going to get a stalling call. And that just irritates me because one guy can practically be stalling the entire match and then get aggressive in the last 30 seconds and then get the other guy who's actually been active for the last, for the first 6.5 minutes, will get the stalling call. Do you get what I'm trying to say? I mean, I see that all the time. I feel that that's a problem because a guy will be the superior wrestler, and takedowns are hard against an NCAA, and against a tough guy, takedowns are really tough, and then a guy will get a takedown and he'll be up by a point, maybe 2 points, however the match goes. But then the guy who's been stalling, who has no takedown attempts, maybe half-hearted ones, and everyone can tell the half-hearted ones. I'm talking about the real legit takedown attempts. The guy who doesn't have them, then he'll start pushing the pace at the end. Not so many times, but sometimes they'll force the guy who has been active the whole match but wants to preserve the lead at the very end to make a critical mistake. And I just don't think that's fair. I don't have a problem with the referee calling stalling at the last 30 seconds if the ref is calling stalling on the guy who's not taking takedowns, going for real takedowns throughout the match. Like if during the first period, if one guy has 7 takedown attempts, well, 7's a lot. We'll go with 3 or 4 legit, really, ones, and the other guy doesn't have any. Well, I think that, if you're not going to call stalling in that situation, then don't call stalling in the last 30 seconds. Be consistent. That's one of the gripes I have. Officiating needs to get better with that. Now, this is another gripe I have. Consistency, I guess you can just say consistency all the way through. This is another gripe I have about college wrestling, and it's an issue. Now I'll go back to the Martin, Ohio State's Martin. That was really hard. I really felt that down deep when Martin lost that match last year in NCAA. I don't think there's a more deserving wrestler to win it all than him. And when he was wrestling Dean, now he made the mistakes. It was his fault. I'm not saying that Dean didn't deserve it. Don't accept. But I think when you have like 30 seconds in the match And because what I said before, because the stalling is inconsistent, which probably leads to this, wrestlers will go and they'll just go for a takedown, not to get the takedown, but to kind of burn the clock and not be taken down themselves and not be called for stalling. So they'll go and they'll clasp their hands, on a leg, and they'll just try not to be moved in hopes of, taking 30 seconds off the clock and getting a stalemate. Well, what happened to Martin against Dean is that the referee let it play out, and Dean eventually got the takedown. But some of the referees would have called, most of the referees would have called a stalemate a lot sooner than that. That's really a problem. I would like to go to like a freestyle. I would either like it that you're always going to let it play out, no stalemates, or go to a freestyle that you have 30 seconds to complete a takedown. No matter what happens, you have 30 minutes or a minute or just some time. I don't care if it's no minutes. I don't care if you have 15. I don't care if you just let everything play out. It just needs to be consistency across the board. I don't feel like I'm explaining myself well. I have it in my mind what I'm trying to say. I hope you're getting it. But Josiah, I think that needs to be. I think those two issues actually cost Martin the match that he probably should have won, even though he didn't perform very well. But I don't like it when, wrestling's a sport. One of the things that makes wrestling so great, but also doesn't make it so great, is that the best guy doesn't always win. Now, everyone has a shot in a Grand Prix Open tournament. Everyone's got a shot. But those 7 minutes in a high school, I guess 6 minutes, they go by so fast that, unless you're like Jason Knopf or Nickel, if you're not like top level like that, then can control your circumstances and basically. Well, actually, I think he beat Knopf. I think he got cheated last year. So we'll just go with Knopf or Rutherford. They're just so dominant. But besides that, those minutes go by that the best wrestler doesn't always win. Which is okay. I mean, that's part of what makes wrestling great and what makes the 4-time champion so good. But I'm getting off the topic. Consistency. I'm not going to redo this video. Josiah, I love you. You do a great job. Thank you. Bye. Merry Christmas.